Now entering the squared circle pit, the highest pitched member of the NXT universe, Rick Boogz. How's it going, Rick? That's what I want to hear. I just want to say, I have never, a debuting wrestler has never gotten so over with me so quickly than when I saw your entrance a few weeks ago on NXT television and heard that high-pitched scream, and I was just like, yes, I'm it. Even before you got in the ring and did that amazing air guitar, I was like, this is my guy.
The people that get it, get it. The people that don't get it will never get it. A lot of people told me I have to ditch the high-pitched scream, but I was like, you know what? I'm a metalhead. I want to stand out, and this is the way I'm going to do it. High-pitched vocals, ripping, shredding rips, and brutal drums. So,
and I feel like the NXT audience at Full Sail immediately took to it. I feel like they love a good slice of cheese, and you handed them some cheesy goodness. And like right at the beginning of the match, I don't like, was that even planned with the air guitar? And then like the crowd got so into it, they even wanted an encore. Like, how did that feel for you?
No, that definitely wasn't planned. And a fun little tidbit here: that whole entrance, that was my first time doing that in NXT ever, actually, because it was my, it's my debut, and I wanted to make an impression. And like I said, a lot of people thought my gimmick was a little hokey, a little too over the top. But I figured I would go all out and see what the NXT WWE universe thought about it. And I'm glad I stuck to my guns, because now I'm just I get to live the life that I've always wanted to live on a day-to-day basis.
That's awesome. So like, you kind of started developing the character and brought it to them, and we're like, let's just try it out live. Is that how it happened?
Yeah, like I was doing, we do the Florida shows, little live events, and I was doing something similar, but for this NXT television debut, I just took it to a whole different level. And I think people can read if it's something's genuine, and my air guitar playing and my screams were as genuine as can be. So I think that's why people enjoyed it and they wanted more. So it was a super cool experience. And fellow metalhead Triple H obviously dug it, because he wanted me to go back up there and do it again. Yeah,
that's so cool. That like when you got back after your match, I assume you were feeling awesome. You were like, "Fuck, I nailed it." And then you hear the crowd, and then did Triple H just go back out and give them a little more of that Boogz?
Yeah, a little more taste of just the air metal maestro, what he does best.
I love it. So let's take a step back a little. What came to you first, your love of heavy metal or your love of pro wrestling?
That is an interesting question, because I believe when I was about 7 years old, I was obsessed with the Ultimate Warrior. I've always liked heavy, fast music, but I was familiar with Ultimate Warrior before I was with, as we dabble a couple years later, when I bought cassettes from Pantera and Metallica. But I think my true love from metal, stemmed before professional wrestling, sports entertainment. I've always been a little metalhead. Even, unfortunately, I was born in 1987, so it's not like we had, the internet at the tips of our fingers. So I had to be exposed, via radio and stuff like that. That's where I got my taste in Metallica, and then I bought my first cassette, Injustice for All, and then I got a second cassette was Pantera, Cowboys from Hell, because my mother would not allow me to buy any cassette tapes that had the parental advisory sticker on it. Oh, and somehow Cowboys from Hell, yeah, that was the one. She didn't let me buy Slayer.
So let me ask you, all these years later, what's your favorite Metallica album?
Favorite Metallica album? I probably have to go with, it always differs, because, we've been listening to that with fellow metalheads, listening to that for so long. But I would say Master of Puppets at the moment.
That's mine as well.
The longest time it was Kill 'Em All. Kill 'Em All was my favorite when I was younger.
My favorite as a kid was Ride the Lightning, because it was like just that perfect in between from the punk kind of like messiness of Kill 'Em All and the more polished Master of Puppets. But
Yeah.
I recently like revisited Master of Puppets, gave it like a good listening, and I'm like, no, this is flawless. I can't. There's
Right?
no
Oh, Master
track
of
on
Puppets is
here.
Funny story about Ride the Lightning. I bought that cassette, and so my parents drove a minivan with a cassette player in it, and we always listened to Ride the Lightning. And I specifically remember my dad being blown away by Fight Fire with Fire with how fast it was. So my dad's not a metalhead, so he's like, "Wow, how does he play the drums so fast?" Somehow I remember that from 24 years ago.
That's funny. So I kind of get the feeling that you enjoy more of the like classic heavy metal. Like what's your taste? Like what are you jamming nowadays?
I mean, listen, definitely not all about the classics. I enjoy the classics as well, but like a very common question, as you may imagine, on what's my favorite band. I think, when you enjoy music, and that's a big passion of yours, I don't think you have one favorite band. I don't think I could have a favorite band. But if I had to pick one, as hard as it is, I would say Megadeth, just because, first of all, I have a tattoo of them. Killing is my business. The business is good tattoo on my chest, for a lot of people that are wondering what that is. I got into them when I was 9 years old, and I think that's what forever changed my life. I was like die-hard fan. I made my parents, pay for my fan club membership and everything.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was great. Had a little shrine to Megadeth in my room when I was a kid. Started playing bass, and like David Ellison was one of my big influences. But that's not to say that I'm all about like classic thrash metal and stuff. I do like it, but I also like At the Gates, like Vital Remains, Exodus, Children of Bodom, After the Burial, like Iced Earth.
Oh, so you're very
a
varied.
little different genre. What's that?
A very varied palette of heavy metal. Like people think heavy metal is all just the same noise, but there's so many subgenres that you could totally get lost in it.
Metal's its own thing, yeah.
I love that you said Megadeth is your favorite band. Do you have an album that you listen to more than any other Megadeth album? Do you have a go-to Megadeth album?
Well, I mean, so as every Megadeth fan knows, probably Rust in Peace is their ultimate classic, and a lot of people would say it's their favorite. And again, it's like Kill 'Em All for Metallica for me when I was a kid. Rust in Peace is my definite favorite. But as my palate matures and I have heard these albums for 20+ years, I honestly think So Far So Good So What might be my favorite Megadeth album. I don't know.
Oh,
maybe
interesting.
because I didn't listen to it quite as much when I was a kid, but I don't know.
For me, it's the same. Like
it's a
Rust in
great
Peace
song.
was like, like Rust in Peace was like it. But now I'm more kind of a countdown guy. Although I had to take a break from Megadeth for a little bit just because of some of the political stuff that kind of was just like, it kind of tainted me. But now I'm back. Like it's been so long that I'm like, no, I can't not listen to the music because of the person. The music is too good. I need it.
Yeah, I mean, and Dave Mustaine's like he's just a totally different person now. So I don't know. But Dave was the man when he was a young rebellious kid. I mean, he was awesome. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know too much now, like you said, but I'm not even too familiar with their new stuff anymore because I think as I get older, I get like more stubborn with discovering new stuff or even listening, like even bands that I love, like Megadeth. Like I don't take the time to listen to their new music. I don't know because I guess their old music's so good.
Right, and you kind of have to invest your time and like listen to it, and you're like, why? I could just put on this guaranteed banger of an album and just do that.
And interestingly enough, though, now we're talking about favorite Megadeth albums. I think The System Has Failed might be one of my top Megadeth albums. And that's
I was going to say that's a newer one, but at this point it's like probably like 12 or 13 years old, which is so insane.
Yeah, how new is it? It was like 2004 or something.
I guess for me, like new and old Megadeth is like the break is like when he broke up the band in the early aughts because of his injury. So like everything after that is new Megadeth, and then everything before that would be old Megadeth. Do you have an opinion on Risk?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Do you have an opinion on Risk?
Not Marty Friedman, Nick Menza. Yeah. R.I.P.
I'm not sure if you're like Risk. Do you listen to it? It's I have mixed feelings on the album.
So, yeah, I mean, there's some good tracks on Risk. And it's a very nostalgic time period for me and Megadeth because when that album came out, I don't know what they were doing at the time, but they did like a meet and greet, like signing thing at like Best Buy back when that existed.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to meet them when I was like 11 years old. I had a shy little kid who's like taking pictures with my flash Polaroid camera. But I don't know.
How was
that
that experience?
stands out to me. So yeah, it's I got all these pictures with like Marty Friedman and Dave Mustaine and stuff where like my fingers like blocking the shot halfway. But I mean, up to the Risk, all those albums that I grew up with hold a special place in my heart. You know, that's what I'm saying. It's not quite the same with the new music that comes up.
Have you? I don't know if you know, but Marty Friedman, he has a bunch of solo stuff. He put out a solo album or two recently, and it's awesome. It's great. It's instrumental, and if he ever tours, seeing him live, his band is unreal. It's such a visceral experience to see that band, and like he has great musicians playing with him, and he's just the best. And his hair is unbelievable.
Yeah, best hair in metal. Yeah, I've only seen his solo stuff on YouTube. I've never had the pleasure to see him perform live, unfortunately. I've seen Megadeth a handful of times live too, but never with the original lineup. So
yeah, I've only seen new Megadeth, but it was still pretty good.
Yeah,
and the classics still hold up.
Oh, of course.
I love on your Instagram that you have these videos of you lifting weights, and there's always metal playing.
Yeah. The music. I'm one with the music when I'm lifting, like for real. I've had so many workouts where if I can't find the right music, like my workout's just shot. As funny as that is.
No, I absolutely understand. I've had moments on like when I'm doing cardio, which I hate, and I'm just like, shit, I don't know if I can keep going, and like the shuffle hits and like it's like Hate Breed Perseverance playing, and he's just like, come on, you know, persevere, and it's like, yeah, I can do this, let's go. And
like for me personally, it's like just hard hitting moments in the song, build ups or like breakdowns or something like that, where it just gives me, I don't know, 50% more power and explosiveness to crush some heavy weight. It's very funny, and it's people always ask me for advice and stuff on social media. I'm like, to be honest, man, it's probably just the tunes. You just got to find the right tunes that move your soul. If you find something that makes you feel electrified and gives you goosebumps, how could you not hit a new personal best? I don't know. That's my experience.
Do you have like go-to, like what are your go-to either songs or albums that you know are going to give you the power to hit it?
The power. Vital Remains, Hammer Down the Nails. I love that. Icons of Evil, that whole album is one of my absolute favorites. I would say Exodus, Death Amphetamine is a good song. Children of Bodom, Downfall, After the Burial, Pennyweight's a good song. Iced Earth, Question to Heaven. That's a song that's like not quite as hard hitting, but it's just very emotional, very powerful. Winter Sun, that whole Time album moves me very well. Trivium, their Ascendancy album, I'm all about that. Rotting Christ has a lot of powerful, it's just very like, I don't know, tribal, emotional, but simple music that I love listening to that. Man Must Die.
Wow, I haven't heard that band in forever. That's great.
Yeah, right. Decapitated, that's another one of my go-tos. Early Decapitated and new Decapitated. So that's a band that I do enjoy their newer music. Mm-hmm. As different as it is from their earlier music.
And when you're in the performance center, do you ever get like a hold of the music and put in like your iPod or whatever, and then everyone else is turning around like, what the fuck is this Vital Remains shit?
No, because I know that I'm probably the only one that would enjoy that.
I see.
I'm not a selfish person. If people want to enjoy some tunes, some little radio rock or some pop, I'll let them, because I go home and I enjoy, my free time anyways. So I always have my opportunities to crank tunes and lift weights. So I'm a very giving man.
You're not like one of those metal elitists that like only metal all the time.
No, I used to be like that as a kid because I think that's a mindset that a lot of metalheads get into because, like, as you said earlier, metal's its own thing. There's so many subgenres, so it's pretty easy to just stick to metal. But as I get older, I can dig Pearl Jam and Candlebox and stuff as well. I listen to a lot of music. I don't listen to hip hop. I don't know. I just can't enjoy that. It's not that I think it's bad. I just, like, if I listen to music in my free time, it's either probably rock or metal. But definitely not an elitist.
Right.
I can respect people listening to other music. It's just, I grew up with metal and rock. So as I mentioned over and over again, I guess musically, I guess I'm pretty boxed in at this point in my life.
So you said you got into metal first, like you liked the Ultimate Warrior, but you didn't really get into wrestling until later. How did you get into wrestling, into it, like deep into it? And when did you kind of have that moment of like, I could probably do this?
So let's talk about that. That's pretty funny, actually. So I wrestled at the University of Wisconsin, and then after that, after I graduated, I coached for a couple of years. I stuck around with them for 2 years after that, and then I got into strength coaching. And as you know from like my Instagram and stuff, I like to lift. I like to lift heavy. I like to scream and be really loud and obnoxious and headbang and air guitar while I'm lifting weights. And it's all on my YouTube. On my YouTube channel, like I started uploading videos there, I think in like 2015 or so. And more and more and more, like ever since I started, I would get comments like, dude, you gotta try out the WWE. You should be in the WWE. And I was actually doing that before my YouTube channel, just because I'm a bigger guy and I wrestled in college. But I mean, it was definitely my YouTube channel. Like I don't even know how many times I got that comment. I would say over 100 times people have told me I should go to the WWE. And I was like, as I got older and older, I think I was 29 years old. I was like, yeah, I'm getting older. I'm almost 30. Like, why don't I just try? Like I have a wrestling background. I'm a very intense, high energy person. So it was just basically that was all it was. Like I wanted to try out even for Tough Enough. I think when that was like in 2014 or 2015. But my wife was pregnant at the time, and she was very opposed to me trying out for sports entertainment. So I think once we had our daughter, and her daughter was like a year or two, and I was just working, some low-paying strength coaching job, I think she realized that, I should do this. I should try out. We just hit that point. After people telling me I should keep doing it, and me getting older, and I put it all on the line every day anyways with lifting, so figured, let's put it in the ring. Let's see if I can do it. Sure enough, here I am.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, like, you already have, like, all the fundamentals. You have the commitment. Clearly, you have the charisma, if I can say so myself. So,
yeah.
So then you, like, did you send in a tape? Like, what was your audition like? If you don't mind talking about it.
No, I don't mind at all, yeah. One of my wrestling coaches at the University of Wisconsin was Jared Breyer, who now coaches at Virginia Tech, I believe. He wrestled at Oklahoma, and he was teammates with Jack Swagger. So he pitched that. So he was another guy that told me I should try out for WWE. And that was back in 2009 or 2010. He said his buddy was doing really well. And, I was younger at that point. I was like 22 years old. So I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I should do that. But as a kid, you're pretty naive when you're younger, and you think things kind of just fall into your lap. Right. So then fast forward 7 years. 7 years down the road, I reached out to him. I was like, hey, man, like, do you remember 7 years ago when you said I should try out for that? So I just asked him, like, well, how do I go about doing that? So I had to kind of bust his chops to get me some info. And eventually he must have talked to his friend, and then one way or another, they gave me Jerry Briscoe's number, and I talked with him and told him all about my background and stuff, and he just got me a tryout. And then at the tryout, I just brought my energy. I came with Coach Dave, and I just made sure to be seen and be vocal, and then the rest is history.
And then that's such a cool, that's such a cool story. You just went and did it, and they were like, "Yeah, hell yeah!" And then,
yeah, pretty much.
And then when did you start thinking like, "Oh, I love metal"? There's like, it's kind of crazy to think like with the crossover between metal and wrestling, there hasn't really been a metal wrestler or like a power metal like wrestler. Like, I'm gonna bring this in and do this. Like when did that spark?
That's another great question that you asked, because it's another good story. So when I first started, I started in NXT. It was basically June 2017, and then it was I was just learning all the the pro wrestling moves, the sports entertainment side of things, putting that all together in the ring. And I got some advice from some people just to not worry about the gimmick, right? Not worry about your gear, what you wear. So I just wore black. I started wearing a black singlet because I figured I'm an amateur wrestler. I'll just wear a singlet. And then I was like, well, you know what? I don't want to just be an amateur wrestler guy, so I changed it to black trunks. And then shortly after that, I blew my knee out. I tore my ACL and my MCL and my meniscus, a very bad knee injury, and that kept me out for a year. So while I was recovering, I was like, I need to make sure that this injury was a blessing in disguise. So I figured I would just, I still went to promo class multiple times a week, and I just cut the most ridiculous promos. One thing I cut was Art von Boogz. So this artist with tight overalls and a French beret. It was a little too gimmicky. So I was looking for something over the top, anyways, that I could bring energy to, and that's can make people laugh, but at the same time can be taken seriously. And I think that was a little too hokey. But as I'm throwing ideas at the wall and seeing what sticks, I was in a promo class once that Paul Heyman was coaching in. And he asked me to basically say my promo again, but to sing it like a girl, because he's had other people do this in the past, and he wants them to be embarrassed basically to do it, but because it brings up a point that it grabs people's attention because it's different. So I was like, well, I'm not embarrassed to do it. I love singing high-pitched vocals, and that just stuck with me. Like, if people are embarrassed to do that and it stands out, I'm not embarrassed to do it, and it stands, so why wouldn't I just do that all the time? So that's when I started just screaming, basically, in my entrance. And from there, I think it was because I had some generic rock song when I started back at the live events when I was cleared, that I was, just play a little air guitar because I like playing guitar anyways. I'm a metalhead. So it was just the combination of the two, and then really it was just the pieces kind of falling into play, like, well, what am I? Right? I play air guitar and I'm screaming high pitch. I think it's naturally, organically coming together just as just a metal dude, As simple as that, basically.
So what you're telling me...
I like to play guitar.
So you're saying that indirectly Paul Heyman inspired your character?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, indirect, because I wouldn't have done the screaming, singing stuff if it wasn't for him with that little coaching cue in promo class.
And that's kind of what when it clicked for you. That's so cool.
Yeah, yep. And then the rest is history. Basically, just from that one drill, that one exercise.
Is it always Heyman during the promo class, or are there different mentors that kind of?
It's not
coach?
Normally him. He comes a few times a year, just to give that professional, different advice than what we normally get. Just an outsider that has tons of experience. Yeah.
Do you ever get
very beneficial, very helpful?
Yeah, you totally help you find your
clearly, right?
Yeah, like, do you find it like mind blowing sometimes, like the type of legends that are like kind of coaching you and working with you, and you're like, holy crap, like Shawn Michaels is my boss, or something like that.
Yeah. It's definitely, I mean, it's all surreal. That, and then a lot of times, like, I just think about what I do for a living. And I'm like, wow.
Right.
Like, I get home and my wife's working a desk job, talking to people on the phone and stuff. And I get home and, like, sometimes I have a long day, and maybe, as everyone does, maybe someone complain about something. But I think to myself, like, man, I play air guitar. I play air guitar. I scream. I wear tights. Like, I don't see what else I'd rather be doing with my life. It's been pretty incredible. Like, I get to be in the WWE, but I also get to be, a pseudo rock star in a way. So, like, finally in my life, I get to combine my two passions. Because I started playing guitar when I was 11, and I played a little bit in some bands in high school, and then I went to wrestle at the University of Wisconsin, and that was pretty much all-consuming. It took up all my time. So, it took me away from music in that regard. And then, I don't know, like, this is finally what's bringing me back. So it's like my two passions in life they're one.
That's awesome. And, like I want to say, like, what is the date? Like, what are the hours, like, that you have to work day to day? Is it like a 9 to 5, other than the, like, Friday, the weekend loops for the shows?
Yeah, it varies. It's not always the same, because there's always things, tours of the performance center, or people to meet, or things of that sort, meetings. There's usually ring training, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Ring training Thursday and Friday. There's like a strength and conditioning Monday through Friday. But then, like you said, on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we travel around Florida, the Florida Loop. And then other times of the month, we travel around the country. And then tomorrow even, I'm leaving for the UK for Download Fest. So it's different basically every week. Like, there's a general schedule, but it's never really the same. It's always different.
That's going to be fun going to Download. Are you going to be, like, do you already have, obviously you're going to be working doing some wrestling, but are you trying to catch some bands? Like, which bands are you trying to catch? I know you looked up the lineup already.
Oh my God. Yeah, of course. I looked at the lineup before I even knew I was going, just to ensure that I really wanted to go. Yeah, like, I know Lamb of God's playing. I definitely want to see them. At the Gates, that's, like I said, it's one of my favorite bands. I want to see them. Trivium, I'll probably see them if I have time. Even Tesla, like, listen, I like the hair bands as well. Whitesnake, that's a band that I wanted to see. I was at their concert in high school, but my ex-girlfriend at the time had some drama or whatever, caused me to miss the entire concert. So, fast forward, was 15 years later or so, I'll finally get to see them now.
That's awesome. Well, I hope you have an excellent time and get to catch most of the bands you want to. I know it doesn't work out. One last question before I let you go. I don't know if you've thought about this, but you've made it to the main roster. You have a featured spot in WrestleMania. Triple H comes out to you. He's like, all right, Boogz, we got to do a special entrance. Do you have that holy grail of special entrances? Like a band to play you out? Or like, what would be the ultimate entrance for Rick Boogz?
Well, I think that this would be the most realistic one. I'm a big fan of Zakk Wylde. I have a Black Label Society tattoo as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think
he's a
Zakk
big wrestling
Wylde
fan.
Is the best bet. Yeah, play whatever song I have, whether I have the same song now or whether it's different. I would like him to hit those squealing harmonics and just be shredding to whatever music as I walk down the stage. Yeah, me and Zach.
I love it. Like, you two walk together, and then maybe he even like does
yeah,
a
exactly.
running or
Yeah,
something.
he has the wireless. He's walking down with me. We get in the ring, right? He could be playing in the ring. I'll be playing the air bass or the air drums while Zach
back to back. You're back to back.
Yes.
Rocking the guitar.
Yes.
I see it. I love it.
I know, right? Maybe I'll have like the blonde dyed hair then as well. I don't know, I think it's a possibility.
Yeah, who knows where your character is by that point? It might be even
exactly.
more elaborate. I mean,
I don't know. It doesn't have to be WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Like, we could do this. We could do this.
Yeah, this could be a takeover thing. Yeah.
What's that?
This could be a takeover entrance. This isn't how you don't have to save it for WrestleMania.
Hey, even Full Sail. Let's do it at Full Sail.
Even Full Sail.
That's
You're
why
right.
I was listening. I would like him to just, bring that, bring those phalanges and shred me to the ring.
I'm
It would be
sure
one
he'd
for
be
the
into it.
ages.
Rick, thank you so much for carving out some time to talk to me on Squared Circle Pit. I'm such a big fan. And I know you've mentioned you're a metal injection reader as well, which I very much appreciate.
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Metal, this is what I'm saying. Like, you have to understand here. I got a text message saying, would you be willing to do an interview? I'm like, yeah, of course. Like I said earlier, beginning of the interview, I'm a nice guy. I'm a giver. And then I get the notification, and it's like a metal injection. Like, wow, that's what I'm talking about. Now, that's my type of interview. So, I mean, this is hotter. Like, this summarizes how I'm feeling right now, the state of bliss I'm in, how surreal my life is. Like, I get to do interviews with metal injection. You know what I mean? I'm the air guitar guy. I scream like a girl under the ring. Like, this is what I get paid for. It's incredible.
I feel the exact same way, but, in the other direction.
I love it.
Awesome, man. Well, again, thank you so much. Have a great time. A download. Hopefully we'll talk to each other again soon.